Hi, my name is Jason Sanders, and I'm making this video to go over some of the latest developments in AI, specifically ChatGPT, and how it can be applied to the field of market research. Um, I am a market researcher. I've been in the field for 19 years, and I also have experience in software development. I'm actually a certified software developer, so I have a good understanding of both fields. And as I said earlier today, I wanted to go over some of the ways that ChatGPT can be used as a tool to assist in market research and data analysis. So to start with, I have a project with uh, data that I got from that project that I want to put into ChatGPT to show you, to demonstrate how it can be analyzed. And let me go over the project first. It is a survey. Let me move my face up here. That I created in December of 2022 and fielded it in December of 2022. I programmed the survey in Question Pro, a free account in Question Pro, and um, then distributed it to a Question Pro panel. First, I think what might be best to do is to go through, it's a relatively short survey, and it might be best to just go through real quickly the questions that I asked. And before I get started doing that, I do need to mention that this was a free account, so the number of questions was limited, as well as the programming logic. So I could only use basic programming, and I was not able to actually create open-ended questions either. So those were some of the limitations of the free account. If I were doing this in a paid account, for example, I have a lot of experience using Qualtrics. You can do a lot more sophisticated programming than you can with a free account in something like Question Pro. But I think if the paid accounts for Question Pro, also you can do some more sophisticated things. So let's go real quickly over some of the questions that I asked. It is about cryptocurrencies, and I was kind of interested in getting a reading from the general public after the collapse of the FTX cryptocurrency exchange. So the first few questions are basically trying to get an understanding of respondents' awareness of and familiarity with cryptocurrencies. And before I go on, I should mention that this was a general population survey, so it wasn't targeted to anybody in particular. So it just went out to a general population. So have you ever heard or read about cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum? How familiar are you with cryptocurrencies in general? What's your overall opinion of cryptocurrencies? How familiar are you with each of the following? And these are some subsectors of cryptocurrency, like NFTs, decentralized finance, play to earn, gaming. How strongly do you agree or disagree with each of the following statements about cryptocurrencies? And for example, cryptocurrencies are too volatile, they're easy to obtain or buy, they're a scam, they're dangerous, they're a convenient way to pay for goods and services, etc., etc. The next set of questions are about ownership, trying to understand what percentage of people own cryptocurrencies amongst these respondents. And so which of the following statements applies to you? I currently own cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin or Ethereum. I previously owned cryptocurrency but no longer do. I've never owned cryptocurrency. And then amongst the respondents who do own cryptocurrency, I wanted to know which ones they owned, and I provided a list of some of the top ones at that time. And then for those who did become a cryptocurrency owner, what was the primary reason that they bought cryptos? And then similarly, if they're not a cryptocurrency owner, what's the primary reason that they do not own cryptocurrency? How likely are you to purchase cryptocurrency in the future? Have you heard or read about the collapse of FTX cryptocurrency exchange? what impact did the collapse have on your overall opinion of cryptocurrencies? Overall, how would you rate your computer skills? And then these final questions are some of your standard demographic questions. How old are you? Which of the following best describes your education status? What's your gender? What is your current annual household income level? Okay. So as I said earlier, I distributed this survey. I got about 177 responses, and I exported this data out into a CSV file. And one thing I should mention, if you're going to do this and you're going to upload the data into ChatGPT for it to analyze, you want to export the data such that the responses are text, the actual text of the answer choices. Sometimes you'll have a choice between doing that or exporting out the data as numbers. And if you do that, you can, but then you're going to have to tell ChatGPT what all those numbers mean. So you're going to have to create a code book and also upload that. And that's a lot of unnecessary work. So let's go over to ChatGPT. And the account that I'm using is Plus. It actually is a paid version. It costs $20 a month, and it gives you access to GPT-4. And GPT-4 allows you to use Code Interpreter, and Code Interpreter uses Python to analyze data sets that you can upload into ChatGPT. So it's so what you'll want to do is, if you have the paid account and you're on GPT-4, you want to click on Code Interpreter to enable it, and you can see this button, plus button, appears here, and it allows you to upload a file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the file containing the data from the completed responses from the survey that I just went over with you, and start asking GPT some questions, ChatGPT some questions about it, just to demonstrate some of the capabilities it has and how it can, as I said earlier, be a useful tool to help you analyze this information, this data. So I'm going to click the plus button. I'm going to upload a CSV file containing the raw data. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask ChatGPT, I'm going to tell it that I uploaded this file. I just uploaded a file containing results from a survey about cryptocurrencies. And to begin with, I'm just going to ask it a basic question to see if it can recognize the questions that I asked in the survey. I haven't shown you the data file, but each of the columns in it corresponds to the data for each survey question. Please list all of the questions that I used in the survey. And let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, it needs to look at the file just a little bit different way. Okay, so it was able to recognize the questions that were asked in the survey, and it's listing them out. Okay, so it looks like it's able to go through and recognize all of them. Okay, so it went through and it got all of the questions. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to analyze every question because, as you can see, there's quite a bit. So I think what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to start with these familiarity questions, and I'm simply going to ask ChatGPT to summarize the responses. So let's see, please summarize the responses to the following questions. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste these. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to go down here and paste. I want to know what I want to know for each question. What percentage of respondents selected each answer choice? Okay, let's see what it can do there. Scroll back down. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. It is able to go through each question and then provide you some summary statistics for each one. Okay, so it was able to do that. And what I'm going to do next is just type, see if it can interpret what's going on. So please analyze the results. It's kind of a basic question or statement. So this is really interesting. It's able to go through the high-level summary results of those questions and basically give you a summary of what's going on. So, for example, awareness of cryptocurrencies. A vast majority of the respondents have heard or read about cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. This suggests a high level of awareness about cryptocurrencies. However, when it comes to familiarity with cryptocurrencies, the results are more mixed. Only about 25% of the respondents consider themselves very familiar or extremely familiar. So it's interesting. It's actually, if we scroll down here, it says these insights suggest that while cryptocurrencies are widely known about, there's a significant gap in understanding and opinions are varied. There's a clear opportunity for further education and information, not just about not just cryptocurrencies, but the broader range of applications in the crypto world. So this is really cool. It's able to basically give you a quick textual summary of what's going on. So the next thing I want to take a look at is I want to see how well it can segment the data. So I'm going to grab these demographics plus the computer skills question. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to ask it to summarize the responses for those questions. So please summarize the responses for the following questions. And let's see what it does there. Okay, it was able to summarize those responses as well. Okay, so let's say I want to focus on gender because I have a suspicion that, or a hypothesis that males might be more into cryptocurrencies than females. So let's do it this way. I want to pick a question. So let's say, how familiar are you with cryptocurrencies in general? Okay. Please segment the results of the following question by gender. So I'm going to paste that there and just give it a little bit more instruction. So for example, I would like to know, let's see, how familiar males are with cryptos versus females. Please put the results in a table format. Okay, let's see how it handles that. I scroll down. So it's able to do that. It shows you male, female, and other. And just by eyeballing it, you can see that males indeed are reporting that they're more familiar compared to females with cryptocurrencies. And here the ChatGPT is stating that verbally. From this table, it can be observed that a higher percentage of males report being extremely familiar, moderately familiar, or very familiar with cryptocurrencies compared to females. So one thing I want to try is, can you tell me if the difference between males and females is statistically significant? Please use chi-square to perform this analysis. Okay, let's see how it handles that. Yeah, so it's telling us that using chi-square via Python is essentially what it's using on the data set, that the difference between males and females in terms of familiarity with cryptocurrencies is in fact statistically significant. So that's that's really useful. That's helpful because oftentimes in market research, when you're doing these types of analyses, you may notice differences between groups, but you'll want to test if those differences are meaningful via statistical significance testing. Okay. The next thing I want to try is to see if ChatGPT can make a chart. So as you can see, I asked earlier here to create a table, but also I want to see if it can create me a graph. So please create a graph which summarizes the following question. So let's pick a different question. Let's say, what is your overall opinion of cryptocurrencies? So I want to see the results of this in a graph. So let's go down here. And let's see what it does here. So as you can see, it can create graphs, and oftentimes I've tried this before, obviously, and sometimes what you'll have to do is it'll create a graph, and then you'll have to give it some instructions to tweak it or to make it a little bit better. So you can see one of the challenges of this one is this label here is crowding everything out. So you'll have to maybe do some additional instructions. So for example, or you might want to have the percentage show up on the actual chart. But it's really helpful. You can use it to generate visualizations, which may help you in your analyses. Whether or not you feel that the charts that it generates are production ready, meaning, good enough to put into an actual, say, PowerPoint presentation, you might need to do a little bit more prompting. So the next thing that I think is quite useful is you can actually have ChatGPT do some data transformations and then provide you an updated data file. So a good example of this is sometimes when you're doing market research, you have these buckets. So we have this age or these age ranges. So when the person takes the survey, they can select what age range they're in. And in this case, you can see there's 7. And maybe I want to consolidate it to, maybe 3. So it would be, 25 and under, and 26 to 44, and then 45 and up above. So what I can do is I can give ChatGPT some instructions on how to do this. So I can tell it, please create a new column of data in the data file. I would like you to consolidate the age ranges. So, for example, age, let's say, into the following age ranges. Consolidate into the following age ranges. Let's see what these were again. So let's do 18, 25, 24 and under, 18, under 18, 18 to 24, 25 to under 34. And then 35 to 54. Then over 55. And I'll just give a little bit extra instructions. So, for example, if a respondent is 18 to 24, then in the new data column, that respondent will be under 34. 18 to 24, and in the new data column, that will be under 34. So in essence, I'm classifying respondents into broader age categories in the new data column. Okay. And what's neat is you can say, please provide me a link to download the updated data file. Okay. So let's see how that works. Okay. So what's cool is it'll provide you a link here, and you can actually download the file. Here we are, and threads. Let's. I'm going to pause this a second while I save this into a file. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pause for a second here. Okay, so I was able to download the data file, and let me pull that up here. And as you can see, ChatGPT created a new data file in which it transformed the data as I requested. So all of the 18 and 24s, there's a new variable where they're classified as under 34, 25 to 34, under 34, et cetera, et cetera. And so if I want, what I can do is then I can ask it to please summarize the results for the data in the new column called, let's see, what did we call it? Consolidated age range. Okay. And so here, it was able to do that. And you can see the power here is now I could, if I want to, I can say, please segment the results of the following question by the new variable consolidated age range. So basically what I'm doing here is I use ChatGPT to transform the data into a new variable, and now I'm running the frequencies for that particular question, what's your overall opinion of cryptocurrencies, by this consolidated bucket of age ranges, because maybe I thought 7 was too many, and I wanted to examine it in bigger tranches. So we can see here it's able to do it. So, and then it gives you let me move my face here. It gives you a summary of its role. So from this table, it can be observed that a higher percentage of respondents under 34 have a neutral opinion of cryptocurrencies compared to other age ranges. Those over 55 have the highest percentage of very unfavorable opinions. So there's a lot that it can do. So in summary, as you can see, you can upload survey data into ChatGPT in a CSV file, and you can use it to do a whole bunch of things. You can use it to summarize the results of individual questions. You can create charts and tables of those summary results. You can ask ChatGPT to give an interpretation of how it's viewing the data, and you can do some statistical significance testing. There's a wide range. This is just kind of scratching the surface. And the one thing I would have to say is that you should just double check its work. So for example, do some spot checking if you're using this to run some frequencies for some questions in your survey. Just do some spot checks to make sure it's doing it correctly. And yeah, I think my assessment of this tool is that it's, I know that some people are concerned that it could be, a job killer or take away people's jobs. But my assessment is that actually it's a useful tool. So if you already have skills as a data analyst or as a market researcher, working with survey data, this tool will really help you. It's an analytical tool. In other words, if you don't have that background and you just upload a data file and say, analyze the results for me, it's probably not going to give you useful results, especially within the context of a business. Because usually when you do these surveys, there's a very specific objective that you have, and you want to glean specific learnings that are going to help stakeholders within your business or organization make important decisions. So hopefully this has been a helpful intro of some of the current capabilities that AI and specifically ChatGPT has as a tool to help you as a market researcher and data analyst.